do I follow that speech? That was amazing. Well, do you ever feel spiritually disconnected and complacent from God? I'm going to tell you today about a time where I was in a really rough place, spiritually and mentally. But when I sought God, things started to change. I learned that if I seek, I will find Him. About 2 years ago, summer of my sophomore year, I was house sitting for my friend. Now, you may think, wow, that's so fun. You get to stay at someone else's house and just live there. It wasn't. I am used to being able to reach out to my neighbors who live so close to me and hang out with them, go places. But at my friend's house, I couldn't do that. I didn't know the people around her. I didn't know the places around her. So I felt trapped, stuck. I couldn't even drive yet. Thing is, I could walk places, but I didn't know where to go. My life had ended, and I felt lonely. I couldn't really see anyone. While my friends were also on vacation. That means they couldn't come see me either. I felt hopeless, and prayer seemed to go nowhere for me. I spent a lot of that time inside, and I don't really want to admit it, but I was just a little bit depressed. So, naturally, I turned to God. Not very naturally. It took a while for me to get there. But I prayed for breakthrough. I said, God, where are you? And then I remembered a speaker from my church who talked about just relying on the Spirit. So, with nowhere else to go, I said, God, please just speak to me. Please lead me somewhere. Because right now, I have nowhere else to go. I said, God, I'm ready. And almost instantaneously, I felt the sudden urge to want to walk. And on this walk, I felt compelled to talk to this guy who was walking about and picking from me. And so I get up to him, and I'm like, hi, what's your name? He's like, I'm David. I'm like, oh, what school do you go to? He's like, oh, I go to Foothill. That was my school. After meeting him, I realized that God wanted me to talk to him for some reason. And I never knew why. Until I started writing a speech. When I started writing it, I looked up what his name meant. And his name meant beloved. I realized that God was actually sending me signs that I didn't even know were there until today. In addition to meeting David, I also saw a total of 3 dead crows on the walk. Now, you all must be thinking that that's probably not a good thing, right? Yeah, I didn't think so either. Till I got home. So I was Googling on my computer, what does 3 dead crows mean? And I got a lot of scary things. Bad omens, associated with death and dark things, as you may know. But then I found this one definition that defined it as the death of bad things. So I chose to look at it that way. And boy, did things change. Following that, I started to lose a lot of, bad things in my life. Starting with the loss of a friend. She didn't die. I just realized she was very toxic. She was someone who would say things behind my back and then didn't get back to me. Not very smart, in my opinion, but it happened. And since my eyes had been opened to the death of bad things, I realized that I need to get rid of her. So then other things I realized have changed too, but they got better before they got worse. One of them was addiction. I've always struggled with anxiety and had a very hard time going to sleep at night. And it would come with bouts of insomnia that I would just sit there in my bed, my mind racing, and not be able to sleep all night until about maybe 3 or 4 a.m. if I got lucky. So one of these bouts hit sophomore year at the same time I was going through all of this. And it was bad because not only was I not sleeping, I also got sick. And worst of all, I got my period. wasn't working out for me. And because of that, I started taking NyQuil to go to sleep. Now, this started out because I was sick, but even after I got better, I kept taking it. And my sister noticed. She was like, "Kate, you're not sick anymore. Why are you taking NyQuil?" I'm like, Natalie. So, but not to the point where that NyQuil actually keeps you from getting REM sleep, the sleep necessary for you to encode things in your brain. I was losing a lot of cognitive abilities. I actually got my first D on a test, and I got my first D on an essay. I realized things were going downhill. I needed to change something. And I realized that I needed to change, or what I needed to change, when I was telling my friends, "Guys, I'm so stuck, I don't know what to do." And they would just be like, "I'm so sorry, Kate." The only person who had the guts to tell me to pull my head out of was my friend's boyfriend, Kane. And he told me that, "Kate, you just need to do your best, and that's all you can do." I was putting these unrealistic expectations on myself and driving myself on the ground because of it. And I realized he was right. I needed to do my best. I realized I wasn't doing my best. So I gradually started to cut back those bad things in my life. I stopped talking to Chloe. I stopped taking NyQuil. I also got rid of a lot of other things like maintaining a consistent sleep schedule and cutting out caffeine. There's lots of bad things in my life, really big. In conclusion, I learned that if I seek, I will find. I started off spiritually disconnected until I saw those crows, and a period of change swept me off my feet. I'm challenging you to ask God for a change, and know that if you seek, you will find, even if it's unconditional.